The kindness trap. We grow up hearing the same thing. Be kind, be generous, be there for people, and most of us listened. We gave, we showed up, we said yes. When everything inside wanted to scream no, we helped even when no one returned the favor. We stayed even when we were breaking. Because we thought kindness was the way, but no one warned us that kindness without boundaries can become a trap. The kind ones often break first, not because they're weak, but because they give until there's nothing left, and still, it's not enough. They get ignored, used, dismissed. Then someone says, "You're too nice," like it's a flaw, like it's your fault. So what now? Do we stop being kind? Do we turn cold? No. But we need to learn the difference between being kind and being a door. This is not a video about becoming selfish. This is about becoming smart, because kindness should never cost you yourself. But before we go deeper, do something simple but powerful. Scroll to the comments and write this down. The control is mine. Write it without hesitation. Write it with intent. Because when you do, you're not just typing words, you're planting them into the soil of your mind. And what you plant there grows. This is not just a comment, it's your declaration, your first move. So do it now. Make it real, own it, and now, get ready. Because what you're about to hear might change you forever. Let me tell you a quick story. Once upon a time, in a quiet little valley, there lived a young blacksmith named Martin. He was known for two things, his hands and his calm. But one day, everything went wrong. His hammer cracked, the forge collapsed, the fire broke loose, and so did his temper. He felt the rage rising, ready to explode. But then he remembered something his grandfather told him. When the fire is inside you, don't throw it, use it. So instead of yelling, instead of smashing, Martin took a breath. He stepped back. He let the heat move through, but not control him. He fixed his forge. He repaired his tools, not in fury, but in focus. Later, his friends asked, "How did you stay so calm?" Martin smiled. "Emotions are like fire," he said. "If you don't hold them right, they burn you. But if you master them, they forge you." That story stuck with me because in every storm, we have a choice. Let the chaos take over, or master the fire inside. If this story hits you, if these videos help, take a second, hit subscribe, turn on the bell. Because what comes next is for those who are done being broken by their own kindness. Let's begin with the first lesson. You expect too much. Some wounds don't bleed, they echo, and some betrayals don't come from what was done, but from what we thought would happen and didn't. We get hurt, not by what they promised, but by what we assumed, because deep down we're always making silent agreements. I'll check on you, so you'll check on me. I'll stay up for you, so you'll stay for me. I'll give my all, and you won't leave when I need you most. But they never signed that paper, only we did. Think about it. The friend we always forgive, because we believe they do the same. The partner we overgive to, because we think they see how much we love. The sibling we never confront, because we expect they'll protect us like we protect them. It's all a quiet contract, written in the dark, with terms only we knew. And when they break it, we act like they changed. But truth is, they never agreed. That's the dangerous thing about expectation. It feels like love, but it's a trade disguised as sacrifice. We pour, we carry, we stay quiet, but inside, we're waiting for someone to notice, to mirror us, to love back with the same fire. And when they don't, we don't just feel sad, we feel betrayed, not by them, but by the version of them we built. We thought we were safe, we thought we were seen, and suddenly we're staring at the truth. We gave so much to someone who never asked us to. We offered a version of love they couldn't return. We expected from a heart that was never ready, and it wasn't their lie, it was our hope. Maybe they weren't careless. Maybe they just didn't know what we expected of them because we never said it. We just felt it. We just hoped. But hope without voice is not connection. It's a contract written in smoke, and the only person who can feel it tear is the one who wrote it. It hurts. Not because they didn't show up, but because we would have answered. We would have stayed. We would have moved mountains just to make sure they were okay. And they didn't. No message, no call, no, how are you holding up? Nothing. Not because they hated us. Not because they wanted to hurt us. They just didn't think of us. It happens in silence. The friend who only texts when they need something, but forgets our name when we're the one bleeding. The person we gave our heart to, who disappeared when we finally needed theirs. The family we always say yes to, who call us selfish the first time we say no. Sometimes we don't even ask for much. Not flowers, not grand gestures, just a simple, hey, did you make it home okay? But even that can feel like too much to ask. We think people will notice how much we care, but the truth is, they only notice when we stop. We think kindness will come back. We think showing up means they'll remember, that if we keep pouring out, eventually they'll notice the empty inside us. But no, not everyone sees the same way. Not everyone loves like we do. Not everyone gives what they take. And the problem isn't them, it's what we hope they'll become. We don't say it out loud, but deep down we're writing little contracts. I'll be there for you. So one day, you'll be there for me. I'll stay loyal, so you'll choose me. I'll carry this for you, so you'll never drop me. We write them, sign them, frame them in our chest, and they never saw the paper. It's not weakness, it's not failure, it's just how we're wired. When we care, we expect. When we give, we hope. But not every gift gets honored. Not every soul will match our depth. Not every bond was meant to hold our weight. So we sit with the echo, the silence, the space where someone was supposed to be, and we ask ourselves, did we ask too much? Maybe not. Maybe the pain wasn't in being forgotten. Maybe the pain was in realizing we were just a warm place to rest for someone on their way to somewhere else. It's never the loud moment that breaks us. It's the quiet one, the one we didn't see coming. One message left unread, one moment when we needed them and they weren't there. Not because they were busy, but because they didn't feel the need to show up. We don't remember the whole conversation, just the silence that followed, the shift, the coldness, how their answers got shorter, how they forgot our birthday, how they never asked how that hard week turned out. It wasn't one big fight, it was a slow fade, and one day we just knew. We knew we cared more, we tried harder, we hoped longer, and they moved on like we never stayed up at all. There's a moment most of us never say out loud, that moment when we realized we were holding on to someone who already let go. It could have been a birthday where they didn't show up, a job loss no one asked about, a hospital visit where the only flowers were ours. It doesn't take much to feel unseen, and once we feel it, we start to shrink. We start to smile less, speak less, give less. Not because we've changed, but because we've learned. We learned that giving everything doesn't always come back. That showing up for others doesn't guarantee they'll show up for us. That loving with our whole chest still might end in a one-sided echo. And it doesn't mean we were wrong to give. It just means they weren't the place to pour into. The pain isn't just from what happened. It's from what we built in our minds. We didn't just care, we imagined, we pictured the return. Not gifts, not favors, just presence, just effort, just someone who'd do what we would have done. But that's the problem. We think they'll love like we do, hold like we do, value like we do. And when they don't, we don't just feel alone, we feel wrong. There's something cruel about being the one who never misses a moment and realizing no one notices when we go quiet. We think, maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe I care too deeply. Maybe I'm the problem, but that's not truth. That's exhaustion talking to the mirror. It hurts because we weren't just being kind. We were invested. We gave time, emotion, attention. We let people into the softest parts of us, and they left without closing the door. That's not small. That's not silly. That's a bruise and a part of us they never even saw. And worst of all, we didn't see it coming because we were too busy being there for them. So now we sit in a room full of echoes from conversations we only had in our own head. And we ask, was it real? Or was I just being loyal to a moment that never meant as much to them as it did to me? Let's be clear, kindness is not the problem. Expectation is, giving isn't wrong, but giving while secretly waiting for something in return. That's what wears us down, because it turns love into a transaction. And when it's not paid back, we feel robbed. We keep saying, I would have done it for them. And that's beautiful. That says everything about who we are. But it shouldn't be a weapon we turn on ourselves. We can still give, still care, still show up. But not because we want it back, because it's who we choose to be. There's a kind of giving that doesn't drain, the kind that expects nothing but leaves everything better. We don't need to stop loving, we just need to stop loving with a ledger. No more mental tallies, no more quiet contracts, just clear eyes and a full heart. And maybe the next time we feel that sting, that silence, that space where someone was supposed to be, we won't break, we'll breathe, we'll bless it, and we'll let it go. Because the truth is, what we give only has power when we can walk away from it without needing it to come back. You train them to take. People don't always mean to use us, but when we keep showing up, when we keep saying yes, when we give without ever asking for space, they start to believe that's just who we are. Not kind, not generous, available. And once they believe that, they stop asking. They start expecting. It doesn't start big. It's not, hey, fix my life. It's, can you take this shift? Can I vent again? Can you spot me just this once? And we say yes, because it's small, because we care, because we don't want to seem difficult. But one day we look up, and we've trained them to take more than they give. It's not their fault alone. It's a pattern. Every time we helped without setting a boundary, we taught them what was allowed. Every time we dropped everything and said, it's fine, we showed them we'd clean the mess no matter who made it. Every time we stayed quiet when something felt unfair, we told them more voice didn't matter, so now they expect it. Not because they're cruel, but because they've never seen us say no, never seen us push back, never seen us leave. To them, our silence, permission. Our kindness, unlimited. Our love, free labor. It's a hard truth, but one we need, because we can't untrain them until we admit we were the ones who taught them how to treat us. You train them to take. It always starts with something small. They interrupt us mid-sentence, and we let it slide. They show up late, we say no worries. They forget something that mattered to us, and we laugh it off like it didn't sting. And just like that, we've made a choice. We told them, this doesn't bother me. This doesn't need to change. Even if inside it did. Even if we went home and replayed the moment 100 times in our head. The first time we stayed quiet wasn't weakness. It was fear. Fear of conflict. Fear of being too much. Fear of looking sensitive. So we swallowed it, smiled, and told ourselves we were just being understanding. But silence, even with good intentions, is still a signal. It told them we'd bend, that our needs could wait, that we didn't value them enough to speak up. And once that message lands, they adjust. They learn what's allowed, what's forgiven, what can be pushed. And maybe they're not cruel, just unaware, just moving forward in the space we never filled. But every time we say nothing, we add another inch to the leash they're holding, until one day we can't even move without asking permission. So let's be honest, the first time we stayed silent was the moment we trained them to stop listening. You train them to take. At first, they say thank you. They notice. They smile when we stay late. They nod when we say yes. They say, wow, you're always there. And that feels good. But it doesn't last, because the more we give, the more invisible the giving becomes. What started as a gesture slowly becomes an expectation. They stop asking, they stop checking, they stop wondering what it costs us, because to them, it no longer feels like a gift. It feels like our job. They don't see how we cancel our plans, how we go to bed tired, how we say yes when everything in use is begging to say no. They don't see what we put on hold to be available, because they're used to it, because we trained them to see it as normal. And the scariest part, when we finally break, when we finally say, "I'm tired," they look confused. They say, "But you never said anything." They say, "I thought you were okay with it." And maybe we were, once. But every sacrifice, even the quiet ones, has a limit. They stopped seeing the effort because we made it look easy. They stopped appreciating the help because we gave it before they had to ask. We made it convenient to take us for granted, not on purpose, just by being consistently there. And now, we're not sure how to stop without feeling like we're letting someone down. But here's the truth, we're not letting them down. We're just finally picking ourselves back up. You train them to take. Sometimes, yes isn't kindness, it's fear. Fear of disappointing, fear of being left out, fear of being the difficult one. So we say it, even when it doesn't feel right, even when our body says no, even when our energy is gone. We say it because silence feels safer than rejection. But here's the catch. The more we say yes, the harder it becomes to say anything else. Because once people get used to our yes, our no starts sounding like a betrayal. They frown, they push back. They make us feel guilty for doing what we should have done long ago. And suddenly, maybe next time feels like a sin. That's how it becomes a trap. Not built by them, built by us. We laid the bricks with every time we said, "Sure, no problem. I've got it. I don't mind. Happy to help." But we did mind. We just didn't say it. We kept giving until the only version of us they knew was the one who never said no. We think we're being strong, but real strength isn't in saying yes to everything. It's in knowing what to protect, what to preserve, what to walk away from, and the longer we wait, the harder it becomes to reclaim the space we gave up so easily. The yes we give out of guilt is the fastest way to lose respect, not just from them, from ourselves. You train them to take. The good news? What we've trained, we can untrain. But here's the truth, most won't say out loud. Untraining the world starts with untraining ourselves. We have to break the habit of overgiving, of apologizing for rest, of saying yes just to keep the peace. Because peace built on silence isn't peace, it's pressure. So we begin small, not with a scream, but with a pause. We start saying, "Let me check and get back to you. I can't this time. I need time for myself." We stop justifying. We stop over-explaining. We stop feeling guilty for setting a line where there used to be none. And yes, some won't like the shift. They'll say we've changed, that we're selfish, that we've pulled away. But truth is, they were only close because we never made them earn it. They were only comfortable because we never let them feel the edge of our boundaries. And now that we're finally drawing a line, they're realizing they were never standing with us, just standing on us. Let them be confused, let them walk. Because what we're doing isn't rejection, it's returning to ourselves, to balance, to the kind of giving that comes from choice, not obligation. The people who truly value us will learn to receive us differently, respectfully, with care. And the ones who don't, they were only here for the free version of us anyway. You abandon your own goals. Dreams don't usually die in one big moment. They fade. Quietly, behind every "sure, I'll help," behind every "it's okay, I'll wait," behind every day, we choose someone else's fire instead of feeding our own. It doesn't feel like giving up. It feels like being supportive, being available, being the strong one. But slowly, we stop checking in with our own vision. We stop asking what we want. We forget what lit us up before life got loud. And that's the slower death, not being ignored, but being needed so much, we forget what we needed. It starts with a few missed mornings, a few rescheduled plans, a few "I'll get back to that later," because someone needed us, because we didn't want to disappoint, because their fire was louder than ours. And before we know it, we're watching our goals from the passenger seat of someone else's life. We become the one everyone can count on except ourselves. We can list their wins, their needs, their progress. But ask us what we're building, we pause, we stall, because the answer is buried under 100 obligations that never had our name on them. And no, it's not about cutting everyone off. It's not about being selfish. It's about remembering that our life has a direction, and when we ignore it long enough, even the best parts of us start to rust. This is how dreams fade. There's a kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. A kind of heavy that coffee can't lift, the kind we carry when we've spent too long building things that don't belong to us. We think we're just busy, that it's a rough season, that things will slow down soon. But deep down, we know we're not tired because of how much we're doing. We're tired because of how little we're doing for ourselves. We spend our days answering calls, solving problems, being strong, but no one asks, did you write that page? Did you take that step? Did you sit with your dream today? And slowly, that dream feels selfish. That voice inside starts whispering smaller. We forget how it sounded when it used to speak loud. And the scary part? We become so good at helping others rise, we stop noticing how long we've been kneeling. We normalize our own neglect. We call it selflessness. But it's not selfless if the self no longer exists. So no, we're not lazy, we're not scattered, we're not broken. We're just starving for something with our name on it. Something that lights us up. Something that doesn't ask us to shrink just to fit in someone else's plan. We don't need a vacation, we need a return to the part of us that still remembers what we started for. The more we make space for them, the less we leave for ourselves. We don't notice it at first, just one rearranged plan, one skipped workout. One morning where we say, it's fine, I'll do it tomorrow. Because they needed something, because they asked nicely, because we didn't want to be difficult. So we move, we adjust, we shift, and they stay where they are. We tell ourselves, this is temporary. They do the same for us, but time passes. They get used to the space, and we get used to shrinking, until one day we look around and there's no room left for our goals, no time, no energy, no presence, just a schedule filled with everything but us. It's not that we regret helping, it's that we forgot we were building something too. And now the foundation's cracked because we kept lending our tools without keeping any for ourselves. We become the assistant in every story but our own. We hold lights for others, while our own fire flickers lower each time. We're not asking for the world, just space. Space to dream, to build, to create something that isn't tied to being useful. Because we are more than how helpful we are. And if we never make room for our own work, we'll wake up in a life that only fits other people. We can still give, still care, still show up, but we don't have to disappear in the process. You carry their dreams, while yours collect dust. We celebrate their wins. We listen to their ideas. We help them plan, pitch, pursue. We become their biggest fan, their safety net, their support system, and quietly, we forget what we were trying to build. It's not that we're jealous, we're proud of them. We love seeing them rise, but something aches when their dreams keep growing and ours keep waiting. We tell ourselves we're just in a support season, but some seasons don't change unless we do. We know all the steps to their path, but we haven't taken a single one on our own because we've put them first for so long. We forgot how it feels to move for ourselves. Maybe we never meant to stop. Maybe we just paused until they were stable, until they made it, until they didn't need us as much. But when does that day come? Because the truth is, the more we carry their dreams, the less they remember we had our own. It's not their job to protect our goals. That's ours. And if we keep choosing everyone else's vision over our own, we don't just lose time, we lose direction. We can cheer for others. We can hold space. We can help. But if we're not also building something with our name on it, we'll wake up feeling useful, but never fulfilled. You can't build your life from someone else's blueprint. Somewhere along the way, you stopped asking what you wanted, not because you didn't care, but because you cared too much about everyone else. Their plans, their paths, their peace. So you adjusted, you supported, you adapted, until one day your blueprint went missing. The dreams you once held, they're still there, but buried. Behind schedules that don't belong to you. Behind favors that were never returned. Behind the habit of being everything for everyone except yourself. And now, you don't even know where to begin, because it's been so long since you've built something with your own name on it. But here's what no one tells you. You can start again. You can draw new lines, you can reimagine, you can return to the parts of you that still ache to be used. The skills, the voice, the ideas you shelved for later. Later is now. Yes, some people will get uncomfortable. They'll say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're too focused on yourself. But the ones who truly love you will make room for the version of you that finally makes space for itself. This isn't about choosing between them and you. It's about remembering that your life is not a side quest. It's the main story, and you deserve to be the one holding the pen again. Lesson 4. They start to see you as weak. The more you give without limits, the less they believe you have any. People don't always test you with bad intentions. Sometimes they're just watching how much you'll bend, how long you'll wait, how far you'll go without ever asking for anything back. And if there's no line, no pause, no resistance, they start to believe there isn't one. What begins as generosity starts to feel like permission. You say yes again and again, and suddenly your no becomes the surprise. They flinch, they question it, they push harder, because in their mind, you were always the one who never had a boundary. It's not about them being bad. It's about us being unclear. If kindness is always automatic, they stop seeing it as a choice. It becomes part of our identity, and once that happens, the pressure to maintain it never stops. We're no longer just kind. We're expected. We're required. We're the reliable one, the soft one, the one who never pushes back. And when we finally do push back, they don't respect it. They resent it, because to them, we broke the role we trained them to see us in. Not strong, just suddenly inconvenient. That's why some people pull away when we finally speak up. It's not the volume of our voice that bothers them, it's the fact that we found it. And once we do, they have to face the truth, that we were never weak, just too quiet for too long. Indeed, they don't see you as kind, they see you as easy. At some point, you stopped being a person and became a role, the fixer, the helper, the one who never complains, and they got used to that. Used to you picking up the slack, covering for mistakes, smiling when things hurt, laughing off what should have been addressed. You didn't ask for this. You didn't say, use me. But the more you made it look easy, the more they believed it was. Because people don't question what works in their favor. They don't ask what it cost you if it keeps them comfortable. So now you try to express something real, and they act like it's drama. You say, that hurt me. They say, you're sensitive. You say, I need space. They say, you've changed. But the truth is, you didn't change. You just stopped acting. You dropped the role they loved most, the one where you had no needs. And here's what stings most. Some people only respect you when you match their energy, when you push back, when you disappear, when you stop being so soft, because softness in their world looks like surrender. But you're not soft. You're just done pretending that your silence means you're okay. You're not here to play a character. You're here to be whole. And if they can't handle that, they never saw you to begin with. They keep taking, because it costs them nothing to do so. Not everyone who hurts you means to. Some people just learn that your love comes cheap, not because it is, but because you never made them feel the price. You gave, no matter what, no matter when, no matter how many times they forgot to give back. At first, they were grateful, then they got comfortable, then they stopped noticing. Because when something is always there, people stop treating it like it could leave, and when they stop fearing the loss, they stop protecting the value. You made it easy, too easy, to call at midnight, to ask for help and never ask how you're holding up, to forget your needs because you never mentioned them, to rely on your silence as a sign you're okay. They didn't see your heart as weak. They saw it as free, but kindness without clarity isn't generosity. It's a discount, and what's discounted too often gets devalued by them, by the world, and worst of all, by you. So no, you're not asking for too much when you want to be seen. You're not dramatic for wanting your care returned. You're just finally realizing that the love you give deserves to cost something, because anything that costs nothing is treated like it's worth exactly that. When you finally say no, they act like you burned the house down. You spent years saying yes, holding space, taking on what wasn't yours, and they got used to it, so used to it, that the first time you say no, the ground shakes. Not because you were wrong, but because you broke the pattern they loved. Suddenly, you're selfish. Suddenly, you're cold. Suddenly, you're not who they thought. But truth is, you were never that person. You just played the role because no one else would. They don't remember the 1,000 times you made it easy. They only see the one time you make it hard. That's the exit cost. People will fight hardest to keep the version of you that made their life effortless, they'll argue. Guilt trip. Remind you of all the times they needed you, but all they're really saying is, go back to being easy. Here's the paradox. If you never say no, no one respects your yes. If you always give, no one values your giving. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. And sometimes doors need to close so the right people learn to knock, not just walk in. Don't fear their reaction. Don't beg them to understand. Let them be shocked. Let them walk away. Because every exit makes room for someone who knows how to stay. Strength isn't how much you hold, it's how much you let go. Real strength is not in how long you keep quiet. It's in how clear you become once you stop apologizing for what you need. It's not about being liked. It's not about being understood. It's about being whole. Even if they don't get it, even if they don't clap, even if they walk, some will say, you've changed. What they mean is, you stopped being easy. You stopped making room for what broke you. You stopped lowering your voice so they could stay loud. You'll hear things like, you've got walls now. You're not as open as before. You're cold. But the truth is, you're not cold. You're calm. You're not distant. You're protective. You've learned that peace doesn't come from being quiet. It comes from being grounded. And here's the hardest part to carry. Not everyone will like the version of you that finally knows its worth. Not everyone will clap for the boundary that says no more. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. That means you're finally strong enough to be misunderstood. Because some clarity only comes in silence, and some freedom only arrives when you stop explaining yourself to people who were never listening. Lesson 5. You forget who you are. Somewhere along the way, you traded truth for peace. It didn't happen all at once. You didn't wake up one day and say, I'll forget myself. It was slower than that. Softer, quieter, one moment at a time. You swallowed how you felt. You smiled when something cut deep. You kept the room warm even when your soul felt cold. You didn't want conflict. You didn't want to make things worse. You just wanted things to stay okay. So you let things slide. You let people stay. You let yourself shrink, and it looked like peace from the outside, but inside you were disappearing. That's the trade no one talks about. You give up your truth to protect their comfort. You give up your fire to keep the room calm. And over time, they love you for it. But the version of you they love is the one that doesn't speak. That's the heartbreak. Not that they didn't see you, but that they only saw what was easy to be around. They didn't see the storm you silenced to keep their skies clear. They didn't see the weight you held, so no one else had to feel it. They didn't see what it cost you to keep being fine. But you did. You saw every compromise, felt every moment you left yourself behind, heard every time your own voice got softer, until it stopped. And now, all that silence is screaming back at you. This is not about blame, it's about coming back to truth, to your own center, to the version of you that never asked for approval, only space to exist. You kept changing just to stay included. You weren't always like this. There was a time you didn't hesitate to speak, didn't flinch when someone pushed, didn't fold yourself to fit into rooms that didn't know how to hold you. But over time, you changed. Not because you were weak, but because you wanted to belong. So you tried to be easier, less loud, less sensitive, less demanding. You picked up names they were comfortable with. The helper, the listener, the one who never needs anything. You kept the names because they kept you included. But they never felt like you. That's the thing about approval. The more you chase it, the more it asks you to become someone else. It never says, be more of you. It says, be what makes us comfortable. So you adapt, you shrink, you dim, and little by little you forget how it feels to just be. They loved the version of you that asked for nothing. But you started to feel hollow, unseen, exhausted, from performing a role you never auditioned for. And the worst part, when you try to show them the real you, the one with voice and edges, they don't recognize it. Because they never met that version. Because you buried that version to make sure they'd stay. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility now. To come back to your own name, to stop collecting labels that keep you liked, but not known. To let go of the false calm that's been costing you your truth. You were so good. They stopped asking if you were okay. You became the one everyone could count on, the steady one, the calm one, the one who never fell apart in front of anyone. And they loved that about you. So much that they never thought to ask how much it was costing. You kept saying, I'm fine, even when your heart felt heavy, even when your voice shook, even when you wanted to scream but chose silence instead. Because being good felt safer than being seen. Because you believed if you stayed small, quiet, pleasant, they'd stay. So you held space for everyone. You were the first to answer, the last to rest, the one who carried the weight and never asked for a hand back. And slowly you started disappearing in their story. Your needs got quieter, your fire got dimmer, your name got lost in the sound of everyone else's. Being good became your identity, and it came with a rule. Never need too much, never speak too loud, never take up space, because if you do, what happens? Do the people who lean on you? What happens when the strong one finally sits down? Here's what you forgot. You were never built to be a utility. You are not a background character in other people's lives. Being kind should never mean being invisible. Being good should never mean being gone. You can't be free if you keep making cages look comfortable. You call it a phase, you call it a break, you call it just staying low for a while. But deep down, you know what it is. You've been hiding from noise, from rejection, from having to explain why you don't want to be the old version of yourself anymore. You learned how to disappear without leaving, smile when it hurts, nod when you disagree, play nice even when your chest is tight and your throat is full of unspoken truth, because disappearing felt safer than being misunderstood, because silence kept things calm. But healing doesn't live in calm. It lives in the chaos of speaking what you buried, in the honesty of saying, this version of me isn't working anymore. It lives in the courage to be seen, even if it makes the room uncomfortable. Especially then. You can't rebuild while pretending you're whole. You can't grow in a space that only loves your stillness, and you can't call it peace if it comes at the cost of your presence. Let them feel confused. Let them ask questions. Let them pull away. Because the ones who stay, after you stop hiding, are the ones who finally see you. Not the mask, not the version they prefer, but you, raw, unpolished. True, the real you was never lost. Just quiet. It's still there, the real you, beneath the layers of being nice, being good, being what they needed. Underneath the masks you wore so long they started to feel like skin. It's not gone, just quiet, waiting for the right moment to speak again, to take up space, to move without asking for permission. You didn't lose it, you muted it, to survive, to belong, to stay loved in rooms that couldn't hold your full volume. But now, you don't need those rooms. Now, you've felt the weight of silence too long. You've seen what it costs to keep being fine, to keep choosing peace over truth. And you're ready to come back. Not to the old version, but to the one you were before the world taught you to shrink. The one who spoke without checking if it was okay first. The one who didn't wait to be chosen to feel enough, so speak again. Even if your voice shakes, take up space. Even if it makes them shift in their seat, you are not here to stay small. You are here to take the life that was always yours. This is not reinvention. This is return, and the road back to yourself starts now. Lesson 6. You stay too long in places that drain you. Not everything that feels safe is good for you. We call it familiar, we call it stable. We say it's not that bad. But the truth is, we stay because it's what we know, even if it's draining, even if we're shrinking, even if every day feels a little heavier than the last. Comfort is tricky because it doesn't always feel good. It just feels known, and we confuse knowing with being okay. So we convince ourselves, this is just how it is. I've already come this far. I can handle it. But slowly, it's handling us. We stay in conversations that leave us empty, in friendships that never refill us, in jobs that strip away our joy, one tiny compromise at a time. Not because we don't see it, but because leaving feels like losing, because staying feels easier than facing the unknown. But here's what we forget. Just because something feels safe doesn't mean it's sacred. Just because you've been there long doesn't mean you belong there. Some comfort is just long-term damage in disguise. You weren't meant to survive every room. You were meant to recognize when it's time to leave, to protect your energy, to reclaim your space, to say, I love myself too much to shrink for this. Comfort should never cost you your clarity, and safety should never ask for your soul. It's not one big thing, it's 100 small ones you never speak about. It rarely breaks all at once, most of the time. It leaks, a comment that cuts but you laugh it off, a plan that changes but only in their favor, a promise broken, and you say, it's fine, I get it. You keep telling yourself, it's not a big deal. That you're overreacting, that being flexible makes you stronger. But what you're really doing is teaching yourself to tolerate the drip, one drop, then another, until you're soaked in patterns you never agreed to. And the people around you, they never feel the weight. Because you carry it well. You smile through it. You stay helpful. You stay kind. They don't see what it's costing you. They don't feel the exhaustion creeping in every time you say yes when you mean no. You're not falling apart. You're leaking. Energy, focus, joy, leaking through the cracks. You didn't seal because you didn't want to seem too much. It's not weakness to notice what's draining you. It's wisdom, and it's not dramatic. To protect your peace before you break. You don't need to wait for everything to collapse just to justify leaving. You can leave when the small things stop feeling small. Sometimes you keep giving to avoid facing what you need. Helping feels good. It gives you a role, a reason, a rhythm. And when life feels uncertain, helping others feels like control. You're needed. You're useful. You're not drifting, but slowly, you forget how long you've been ignoring your own mess. You stay busy so you don't have to feel. You say, I've got you. But deep down, You wish someone would say that to you, not because you're weak, but because you're tired. Because being the strong one without pause becomes another way to hide. You pour into everyone, but no one's refilling you. Not because they're unkind, but because you never ask. You just smile, serve, soften, until no one sees you're running on empty. And the truth is, as long as you're helping them, you don't have to face the quiet space where your needs live. The dream you've delayed, the boundary you've never set, the wound you keep stepping over like it's not still open. Being generous is beautiful, but when it becomes a shield from your own truth, it turns into escape. You're not here to disappear inside someone else's healing. You're here to honor your own. Don't let helping become hiding. You deserve more than the role of everyone's safe place. You deserve a return to your own. You don't owe forever. To a place that's breaking you, you know it's not right anymore. You feel it. In the silence. In the way your energy dips before you even show up. But still, you stay. Why? Because you feel guilty for leaving something you once said yes to. You remember the beginning, the good moments, the reasons you stayed this long, and part of you believes if you walk now, you're betraying the past. But the truth is, staying when your soul is cracking isn't loyalty. It's self-neglect. You don't owe anyone your peace, your sleep, your softness, especially not to preserve a version of you that no longer fits. They might say, but you've changed. But you used to be okay with this. And maybe you were. But growth means recognizing what's no longer meant for you, even if it once felt like home. You're not cold for choosing yourself. You're not selfish for wanting more. You're not heartless for leaving the place that kept asking you to lose pieces of yourself, to stay. You're allowed to change your mind, to shift your path, to honor the quiet voice inside that says, "This is not where I thrive anymore." You don't owe forever to the version of you that kept saying yes just to survive. You owe yourself the chance to live. Leaving isn't always about walking out. Sometimes it's about walking back in. Not every exit looks like a slammed door. Sometimes it's a soft decision made in silence. Sometimes leaving isn't about the place. It's about the version of you you've outgrown inside it. You don't need permission to step away from what keeps you small. There's a moment you stop asking, "Will they understand?" and start asking, "Do I feel like myself here?" Because that's what matters. Not the role you played, not the years you gave, not the promises that now feel like a prison. Just this. Are you still alive in this place or just performing? We fear the unknown, so we cling to the familiar. But sometimes the most dangerous place is the one you've stayed in too long. Not because it's cruel, but because it stopped feeding you. It stopped seeing you, and you stayed hoping it would again. But the door you're looking for, it doesn't open outward. It opens inward. It's not about running. It's about remembering. It's about saying, "I don't need to fit here to be whole. I don't need this room to feel real. I don't need this version to be valid." Walk out if you must, but more importantly, walk back into yourself. The one who knows. The one who waited, the one who's finally ready to live again. Lesson 7. You think kindness will protect you. You kept being nice, hoping life would be too. Somewhere along the way, you started to believe that being kind would protect you. That if you were gentle, life would be. That if you gave without keeping score, no one would take advantage. That if you stayed soft, you'd be spared. But that's not how it works. Life doesn't reward you for being easy to carry. People don't always notice the weight you hold quietly. And the world doesn't pause just because your heart is open. You gave love like it was armor, but sometimes it just made the arrows hit deeper. You smiled, you forgave, you gave second chances to people who never asked for one. You bent so they wouldn't break. You said it's okay when it wasn't, and deep down you hoped maybe kindness would protect you from the loneliness, from the betrayal, from the ache of being unseen. But kindness is not a shield, It's a gift, and when you give it thinking, it will keep you safe. You're not being kind. You're bargaining. You're hoping your softness will buy you peace. You're hoping if you love gently, you won't be left bleeding. That's the lie no one names. Kindness is beautiful, but it doesn't make you invincible. And it's not weakness to realize being good doesn't always mean you'll be treated well. Kindness isn't a problem until it's assumed. At first, they're thankful, surprised, grateful for how much you give. But over time, they stop saying thank you. They stop noticing. They stop asking. Because your kindness becomes expected. And what's expected rarely gets respected. You gave without keeping score. They started keeping habits. You helped because you wanted to. They started calling it your role. You offered softness. They started thinking you didn't have any edges. And the one time you said no, they looked at you like you changed, but they forgot your kindness was never owed. It was offered. That's what happens when you lead with grace. People forget you're still human, that you get tired, that you bleed too, that your yes was a gift, not a contract. They say things like, you've been distant, you're different now, you're not as patient, but what they mean is, you stopped being easily available, you stopped accepting crumbs. You started choosing yourself. You started realizing kindness without limits turns you into a tool, not a person. So no, kindness isn't the problem. The problem is when it becomes invisible, when it's so constant, so automatic that people forget what it costs to keep showing up. Kindness is powerful, but only when it's a choice, when sometimes being nice costs you being real. You say it's fine when it isn't. You laugh even when something stings. You keep the peace, even when it feels like war inside your chest. All in the name of being nice. But nice isn't always true, and true isn't always easy. You start to notice. The more polite you become, the less honest you are. The more agreeable, the less alive. You're not lying. You're just leaving yourself out of the room. Again and again, until there's nothing left of you in the conversation, and it sounds noble to be the bigger person, to let things go, to choose kindness. But here's the quiet truth. You've turned into a ghost inside your own life, smiling, soothing, disappearing, all because you didn't want to be seen as difficult. But being nice should never cost you being clear. It should never mean you keep swallowing what was meant to be said. It should never mean you lose your tone just to stay soft enough for everyone else's comfort. Real kindness has a backbone. It doesn't bend until it breaks. It doesn't say yes just to avoid the storm. It doesn't agree just to stay included. It speaks, even when the voice shakes. It holds, even when the room goes quiet. Being kind isn't weakness. But being nice at the cost of being real, that's not kindness, that's a slow disappearance. The more quiet you stay, the less they think you have something to say. At first they listen, they care, they lean in when you speak. But then, you stop saying much, you let things slide, you choose silence over conflict, you smile instead of correcting them, and slowly, they stop asking, they stop checking, they stop hearing you, because they think you have nothing left to say. But the truth is, you have plenty. You just stopped offering it to people who only hear convenience. You held back your opinions so they'd feel right, held back your pain so they wouldn't feel guilty, held back your truth because every time you tried, you were made to feel too much. So now they speak over you, they decide for you. They assume you're okay because you don't push back, but what they don't realize, your silence isn't agreement, it's exhaustion. It's the sound of someone who got tired of not being received. And here's the danger. Once people get used to your quiet, they start believing you don't need to be heard. And one day, even you start believing it. That's the cost of holding your voice to hold the peace. You lose your place in the room, not because you're weak, but because you trained them to speak louder than your presence. You still have a voice, you still have weight, you still have things that need to be said. Say them, even if they don't clap, even if they don't listen. Say them, so you don't disappear. Kindness that costs yourself. Isn't kindness? Kindness was never the problem. The problem was thinking you had to prove it by forgetting yourself, that the only way to be good was to be quiet, to be soft, to be available at any cost. But there's another way. Real kindness starts with clarity. It doesn't say yes just to be liked. It doesn't give just to avoid guilt. It doesn't fold itself just to be invited back. It speaks with care, but it still speaks. It gives, but from a place that's full, not from a place that's running on fumes. Kindness isn't about being small, it's about being steady. You don't have to disappear to be loved. You don't have to break yourself to keep others whole. You don't have to earn rest by bleeding first. So the new way, start with you. Be kind to your body when it's tired, to your soul when it's stretched thin, to your voice when it's been quiet too long. Protect your own peace, not out of fear, but out of respect. Kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's submission. Kindness with clarity, that's power. That's presence. That's what stays when people finally see you're not just good, you're grounded. Lesson 8. You start to disappear in love. You didn't fall in love, you fell out of yourself. At first, you were both there. Two voices, two lives, two stories, meeting in the middle. But somewhere along the way, it became about them, their needs, their timing, their storms, and you kept adjusting, one small piece at a time. You stopped saying what you liked, stopped asking for what you needed, stopped making space for your own rhythm, and you called it compromise. But it was something else. It was the slow fade of who you were before they entered the room. You gave so much just to keep the peace, just to be easy, just to make sure they didn't leave, and they stayed. But you started leaving. You left your opinions, your tone, your truth. You left the version of you that once felt whole on their own. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness, because sometimes love doesn't feel like a fall. It feels like a soft erasing, a slow drift away from yourself, while calling it connection. But connection should never require you to disappear, if loving them means losing you. It's not love, it's escape, and you can't stay hidden forever inside someone else's story. They never asked you to shrink, but they never stopped you either. They didn't force it, they didn't demand it, they didn't say, be less. But every time you made yourself small to keep things calm, they let you, and you started calling that love. You turned the volume down on your wants, softened your tone, held back your dreams, just so the distance between you wouldn't grow louder. You told yourself they just need time and they're under pressure. This isn't the right moment. But moments became months, and months became a version of you they never asked for, but never corrected. And here's the hardest truth. You did it willingly, out of care, out of fear, out of the quiet belief that being too much would make them walk. So you stayed light, flexible, silent, until silence became the language of your love. You kept shrinking until their comfort was built on your absence, until their joy was paved over your voice. And the more you made space for them, the more they forgot. You needed space too. This isn't blame, it's a mirror, because love should never grow stronger at the cost of you fading. They didn't stop you, but maybe that's the point. They liked the quiet, even when it came at your expense. So now the question isn't, why did they let me? It's, why did I believe I had to leave myself behind to be loved? You thought staying silent would keep them close, but it only took you farther from yourself. You didn't want to ruin the moment, didn't want to start a fight, didn't want to be too emotional, so you stayed quiet. Just once, then again. Then it became your pattern, and silence became your second language. You told yourself it was love, that letting it go was more noble than speaking up. But deep down, you weren't letting it go. You were swallowing it, hoping your pain would dissolve if no one saw it, hoping your restraint would be enough proof that you cared. But here's what silence doesn't do. It doesn't fix. It doesn't heal, it doesn't teach. It just hides. And what you hide for too long becomes a wound that learns to smile. They didn't know you were hurting because you trained them not to ask. You flinched quietly, you cried politely, you broke in all the ways that didn't bother anyone else. And now, they don't know who you are without the quiet. That's the cost. Not that you weren't loved, but that you were love, only in your silence. Not for your truth, not for your fullness, but for how well you could disappear without making a sound. And if you want to come back, you'll have to unlearn the belief that your voice is a problem. You'll have to risk being heard, even if they don't clap, even if they don't stay, because silence isn't the proof of love. Presence is. They miss who you were when you stopped being yourself. They say they miss you, but what they really miss is the version of you who didn't speak up, who didn't ask for more, who smiled through the hurt and stayed quiet when things got heavy. They miss the one who bent without breaking, who gave without asking, who shrank so they could stay comfortable. But that person was never the real you. That was the version you built to survive, to keep the peace, to be loved, to feel like enough. And now they say you've changed. But what they mean is you stopped performing. You stopped shrinking. You started speaking. You started showing up as someone with edges, and not everyone knows how to handle that. Because some people don't miss you. They miss the control they had when you were easier to carry. They miss the silence that let them stay loud. They miss the version that made them feel better by asking nothing in return. So when they say, "You're different now," say, "Thank you." Because different is what happens when you finally return to your real self. And not everyone gets to meet that version of you. Let them miss the mask. Let them mourn the role. You're not here to be remembered for how little you asked for. You're here to be loved in your wholeness. Even if it takes losing everyone who only clapped when you were small. Love shouldn't feel like leaving who you are. You don't have to choose between being loved and being whole. You don't have to stay small to keep someone close. You don't have to trade your voice for connection. If love makes you less, it isn't love. It's attachment. It's escape. It's the fear of not being chosen unless you disappear a little. But here's the truth. The people who really see you won't flinch when you're honest. They won't fade when you stop performing. They won't walk when you finally speak. They'll stay, not because you're easy, but because you're real. And the ones who don't, let them go. Let them miss the mask. Let them love the version you've outgrown. You don't owe anyone your disappearance. You don't owe anyone a silent version of your full heart. Come home to your laugh, to your ideas, to the parts of you you used to hide just to be chosen. Come home to your power, to your presence, to the you that doesn't apologize for taking up space. This isn't revenge, it's return. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. This isn't the end of love, it's the beginning of loving without leaving yourself behind. Lesson 9. You apologize for who you are. You keep saying sorry for taking up space. You say sorry before you speak, before you move, before you ask for anything. Not because you did something wrong, but because you exist, because somewhere along the way, you learned that being low maintenance was safer than being honest. You apologize when you're too quiet, when you're too loud, when you're not easy. You apologize for being tired, for being excited, for having an opinion, for not always agreeing. And slowly, your voice becomes a whisper, a background sound in your own life. This isn't humility, it's conditioning. You were taught that less of you was more lovable, that being agreeable was more important than being authentic. So you shrank, softened, smiled. You learned to make yourself small just to make others comfortable. But here's the thing, you were never too much. They were just used to people who needed less presence, less truth, less light. You dimmed yourself to fit the room, but the room was never designed to hold your fire. So now you say sorry before you even speak your need, and the apology never ends, because your very existence feels like a burden you must lighten to be accepted. But hear this. You are not a burden. You don't owe the world a quieter version of who you are. You don't have to apologize for existing out loud. It's not humility if you keep disappearing. You say it's just who you are. Low profile, easy to be around. Someone who doesn't need much. You call it humility, but deep down, it's something else. It's fear of being seen, of being too big, of being too real. You've learned to smile through discomfort, to laugh when something cuts, to make light of what weighs heavy. You tell yourself, I'm not the type to make noise, but maybe you just forgot how to stand in your own sound. Real humility is quiet strength. It's not shrinking, it's not silence, it's not saying I'm fine when you're not. Humility means knowing your worth without needing to prove it, but it doesn't mean pretending you have none. You're not humble just because you don't take space. You're scared they'll call you arrogant for loving yourself out loud, scared they'll call you selfish for putting yourself first, scared they'll leave if you stop being small. So you made yourself agreeable, digestible, forgettable, all in the name of peace. But the peace was fake, and you knew it, because it came at the cost of your voice. You don't need to scream, you don't need to dominate, you just need to stop equating invisibility with kindness, because humility without honesty is just another mask. Lee, you kept softening, hoping they'd love you harder. You made yourself smaller, not because they asked, but because you thought it would make them stay. You quieted your wants, your voice, your presence. You told yourself, if I'm easy to love, they won't leave. So you kept shrinking and called it love. But love that needs you to shrink is not love. It's dependence, it's convenience. It's the version of you that costs the least to carry. And over time, you started to carry the weight of their comfort more than your own truth. They didn't ask for less of you, but they didn't stop it either, because the version of you that asked for nothing was easier. No boundaries, no resistance, no needs, just quiet, just available, just empty. And the hardest part? They loved that version. The version that didn't ask to be held back, the one that apologized for needing care, the one that made them feel whole while you slowly fell apart. That wasn't love. That was survival, and you don't have to keep surviving in rooms that only welcome the quietest part of you. The real ones, they'll love your fullness, your range, your weight. They won't be scared when you stop whispering. They'll finally hear you. Don't keep shrinking to be loved. Grow to be seen. Your existence doesn't need to be explained. You've spent so long trying to be small, polite, pleasant, unbothered. You edited yourself so they'd stay comfortable. You made your voice quieter, your ideas softer, your presence lighter, just so no one would say, you're too much. But you are not too much. You're just finally enough in a world that keeps asking people like you to shrink. You don't have to apologize for existing, not for your thoughts, not for your preferences, not for your energy that fills the room before you speak a word. You're not loud. They're just not used to people who know their own volume. You don't have to earn your space. You are space. You don't have to deserve rest. You are not a machine. You don't have to explain why you matter. You just do. Take up room. Speak without editing. Breathe deeply. Hold your shoulders high, not for attention, but because you were never made to fold in half just to fit someone else's frame. Let them adjust. Let the room stretch. Let your fullness be the standard now, not the exception. You were never meant to be hidden. You were meant to be held, to be known, to be felt. The real you never needed permission before the edits, before the shrinking, before the fear. There was a you who didn't ask if it was okay to be a voice that didn't second guess, a presence that didn't apologize. A wholeness you didn't know you'd one day trade for approval. You didn't lose that voice, you just hid it, to stay liked, to stay included, to stay safe. But safe became silent, and silent became invisible. You started waiting for permission, for signs, for someone to say, it's your turn. But it was always your turn. You were always allowed to be full, to be messy, to be bright. You don't need permission to return to yourself. The real you didn't need to be approved. The real you was loud without shame, soft without guilt, certain without needing confirmation. The real you was here before the world asked for a quieter version. So now, let that version speak again. Let it take up space again, not to prove, not to perform, but to remember that existing fully was never a crime. It was a right. You're not here to be tolerated. You're here to be felt, to be heard, to be whole. Lesson 10. You think healing makes you whole again. You keep waiting to feel whole before you live. You keep saying, once I'm healed, I'll begin. Once I'm fixed, I'll show up. Once I'm whole, I'll finally deserve it. But here's the truth. Healing is not a finish line. It's not a perfect version of you waiting on the other side of pain. It's a process, not a promise. You think you have to be clean before you show up. But life isn't waiting for your wounds to close, it's moving. And the longer you wait to be whole, the more life slips through the cracks you're trying to seal. Healing doesn't mean you won't hurt again. It means you don't abandon yourself when the hurt arrives. It doesn't mean you've erased the scar. It means you've stopped letting it write every page. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're not behind. You're becoming. You're not incomplete. You're just learning to carry light with hands that once only held shadow. Stop waiting to be ready. Stop waiting to be perfect. Stop waiting to be the version that never hurts, because that version doesn't exist. But this one, this raw, aware, softer one, this one can love. This one can live. This one can lead. You don't have to finish healing to be worthy of showing up. You just have to begin. Healing isn't a light switch. It's a series of small returns. You keep hoping for the moment. That one morning, you'll wake up and the pain will be gone. The fear, the doubt, the heaviness. But healing doesn't work like that. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, it doesn't come all at once. It returns in fragments, a full breath after days of shallow ones, a laugh that doesn't feel forced, a quiet afternoon that doesn't ache. These are the markers, not grand victories, just small returns to yourself. You're not rebuilding all at once. You're stacking moments, one boundary, one honest no, one tear that finally falls without shame, one meal you enjoy, one step outside. One morning you wake up and don't feel afraid to try again. Healing is messy. It repeats, it circles back just when you thought you were done. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human, that your body remembers, that your heart still feels, that your spirit is still finding its rhythm. So give yourself grace on the days it hurts again. Celebrate the moments that used to break you, but now just bend you a little. Don't measure your healing by how loud it is. Measure it by how often you come back to yourself. Not perfect, not whole, but here. Still choosing, still standing, still becoming. Our forgiveness doesn't mean the past didn't happen. It means it doesn't own you. You keep waiting to forget, thinking that's when you'll be free. That once the memory fades, so will the pain. But forgetting isn't healing. And forgiveness isn't amnesia. The wound may close, but the mark stays. The memory lingers, not to hurt you, but to remind you of what you survived. You don't need to erase the past to move forward. You just need to stop living in it. Forgiveness isn't saying it was okay. It's saying, I'm no longer giving this the power to define me. It's not letting them off the hook. It's taking yourself off it. You don't forgive to let them walk free. You forgive so you can walk free. Some things will never make sense. Some apologies will never come. Some people won't change, but you still can. You can choose to let go of the weight. You were never meant to carry this long. Let the memory stay, but let the grip go. Let the lesson remain, but let the story soften. You're not weak for remembering. You're strong for not letting the memory become your identity. You don't need to forget to move on. You just need to say, this hurt me, but it won't hold me. And then keep walking. Strength isn't never breaking. It's knowing how to come back. You thought strength meant holding it together all the time for everyone. No cracks, no noise, no visible pain, just smiles, just answers, just silence. But that wasn't strength. That was survival. Real strength is softer than you think. It's shaking and still choosing to speak. It's crying and still showing up. It's breaking and still believing in the possibility of something better. You can fall and still be strong. You can disappear for a while and still deserve to return. You can say, "I'm not okay right now," and still be a warrior. Strength isn't perfection, it's presence. It's the decision to keep going without needing applause. The strong don't always look solid. Sometimes they're quiet. Sometimes they're messy. Sometimes they rest instead of push. Not because they gave up, but because they finally understood that healing isn't a race. And strength isn't about speed, it's about staying kind when bitterness knocks. Staying honest when hiding feels easier. Staying open even when you've been shut down before. You're not weak for needing time. You're not broken for asking space. You're not less for choosing yourself. You're just finally strong in a way the world can't always see. Being whole doesn't mean never hurting. It means never leaving yourself. You thought wholeness meant peace, no triggers, no doubt, no cracks. Just calm, just light, just strength. But that's not real, that's perfection. Disguised as healing. Real wholeness is messy. It's the voice that says, "I'm still here after the breakdown." It's the hand that reaches inward when everything feels too much. It's the decision to stay with yourself even when it hurts. Wholeness is not never breaking. It's not never crying. It's not never feeling lost again. It's saying, "I can fall apart and still belong to myself." You don't need to be clean to be complete. You don't need to be perfect to be present. You just need to stay, especially on the days you want to run, especially on the days you want to disappear. Wholeness means you don't abandon your heart just because it's beating differently. You don't silence your voice just because it's shaking. You don't stop loving yourself just because you're not done healing. The world told you, fix it, then you're worthy. But the truth, you were always worthy, even before the healing, even in the mess, especially in the mess. Wholeness isn't a reward. It's a relationship with yourself, with your shadows, with your light, with the version of you that finally knows, "I'm not broken, I'm becoming." Lesson 11, you wait too long to be free. Freedom doesn't come later. It comes when you decide to stop waiting. You say, "Someday, when it's quiet, when I'm ready, when they understand." You call it patience, but really, it's fear. And fear wears 1,000 names. Preparation, loyalty, timing, logic. But beneath it all is the same thing. You're waiting. Waiting for the perfect sign, the perfect moment, the perfect version of you that doesn't exist yet. But here's what it's costing. Your now, your life, your moments, your momentum. The longer you wait to feel free, the more you teach yourself you're not allowed to be. You stay in jobs you've outgrown, rooms that feel too small, roles that crush your spirit when quiet, compromise at a time. Not because you can't leave, but because you don't think you deserve to leave yet. You think freedom must be earned. After enough pain, after enough proof. But freedom isn't earned, it's chosen. You don't have to hit a breaking point. You don't need another sign. You don't need anyone's permission to release what's been holding you back. Freedom starts when you stop waiting for it. And if you're still looking for a reason to begin, this is it. Most cages were never locked, just never questioned. Some cages look like comfort, like stability, like routine. And you stay, not because you love it, but because it feels familiar. You've outgrown the space, but you keep adjusting your posture to fit it anyway. You tell yourself, "I can't leave yet. I don't want to disappoint them. This is just how life is." But deep down, you know, you're not stuck. You're conditioned to stay, to shrink, to settle. You wait for someone to open the door, to give you permission, to say, "It's okay now, you can go." But here's the truth. The door was never locked. You just stopped reaching for it. You stopped testing the walls because you convinced yourself they were permanent. But they were only rules, learned limits, invisible chains you forgot you could cut. Freedom doesn't always come with applause or clarity or comfort. Sometimes it comes in a whisper. This isn't right. And the choice to listen anyway. You don't need a reason to free yourself from a story that stopped making sense. You just need the courage to question it. Because most of the time, the lock was never on the door. It was on your mind. You don't need to be chosen to choose yourself. You keep hoping they'll see your worth, that they'll wake up one day and finally understand what you've carried. You want a sign, a release, a blessing to leave without guilt, but you don't need permission to be free. You just need to decide. They may never say sorry, they may never change, they may never see what it cost you to stay this long, but your freedom doesn't depend on their recognition. It begins the moment you stop asking for it. You don't need closure to close a chapter. You don't need a crowd to validate your choice. You don't need the world to understand your path for it to be the right one. You've waited long enough, waited to feel ready. Waited to feel deserving, waited to be invited into a life you could have built long ago, but now you know you can choose yourself. Without applause, without proof, without a guarantee, just choose. Not because they said go, but because you finally said enough. Freedom was never about the door opening. It was always about you walking out. Freedom isn't the end, it's where you begin again. You stepped out finally, and for a moment, you thought it would feel like flight, like wind, like victory. But it felt quiet, not because you made the wrong move, but because you left noise behind. The noise of approval, of guilt, of needing to be understood before you acted. This silence, it's not emptiness, it's space to breathe, to choose, to exist without explanation. For the first time in a long time, you're not performing, you're just being. It may feel strange at first. No one clapping, no one chasing, just you and your truth. No script, no waiting, just small moments that feel like home again. A slow morning, a real laugh, a mirror that doesn't lie. This is what freedom looks like. Not dramatic, not loud, but honest. It's the life that doesn't ask you to shrink just to stay. It's the path where you don't have to apologize for the weight of your own presence. There's no map, no audience, no checklist, just the decision every day to walk in your own direction, to speak with your own voice, to stand even when no one says good job. Freedom was never about escape. It was about return to yourself, to your fire, to the version of you that doesn't flinch when the world gets quiet. Because now you know you never needed a door to open. You just needed to stop waiting to walk through it.